Most people can spar for 10 plus rounds straight, but when it comes to fight day, they just can't seem to stop gassing out. And it's not because they're unfit, it's because they're inefficient at the exercises they need in order to perform. Because the way that we train in the gym is very different to how we would fight, because there's fight nerves, there's going to be reactions that you probably wouldn't have because you're going to have more anxiety. So I'm going to show you exactly how to 10x your fight condition. I'm not going to talk about all the boring science and everything. I'm just going to show you what actually works, what will actually make your conditioning supremely better than it already is. So when you next get into your fight, instead of gassing out after the second round, you might gas out after the third, fourth, and fifth round, depending on how many rounds you fight at. So the first one, and you probably already knew this one, is bag work. But when we're doing bag work, we want to mimic movements on how we're going to fight. So if you're more of a kicker, you should be throwing more kicks. If you're more of a boxer in your fight, you should be throwing more punches. When you do it, you want to try and mimic the fight pace. So when you're fighting, just think about a fight really quick here, guys. There's not every single second you're not throwing punches. So we're not going to be just smashing the bag as hard as we can. We want to be feinting and moving for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then when it's 10 seconds, we're going to explode and we're going to put a big combination together, whether that means kicks, whether that means punches. Try and keep it close to your style, because that's how you're going to fight when you fight. Feint, 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 move around, keep moving on your toes the whole time. And then when it's time to attack, go as hard as you can and do short bursts of energy, and then back to your moving out, back to your feints. And you can do this with power kicks on the heavy bag. You can even do power punches on the heavy bag, but try and keep it so it's in the same fight pace as you would. So touch, 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 touch. And then when you've done 15, 20 seconds of that, I want you to go as hard as you can for the next 10 seconds. And then try and stick to your fight time as well. So if you're doing 3-minute rounds and you have 1 minute rest, get used to fighting like that. Don't do 5-minute rounds, 2-minute rest. Do 3-minute rounds, mimicking the fight pace, and then have 1 minute rest, and then mimic the fight pace again. And only do it for 3 rounds, because that's how many rounds you're fighting at. I'd rather you put 100% into your 3 rounds instead of 60-70% for 5 rounds, because you're doing 5 rounds. But you're probably going to be fighting for 3 rounds. So let's make sure that we're going 100% for our punches and putting everything into our punches for 3 minutes, 1 minute rest, 3 minutes. And if you're fighting for 5 3-minute rounds, you do it 5 times. If you're only fighting for 3-minute rounds, do it 3 times. And for all of these different exercises, I want you to do the exact same principle I just said to you now. So stick to your fight time. Get good at staying 100% and getting your heart rate good at fighting for your fight time, whether it's 5-minute rounds, whether it's 3-minute rounds, whatever. Realistic pad work then, boys, because we want the pad worker to get you working. So that means the pad holder is going to throw attacks back at you. We do not want an ego boost pad holder. I'm a pad holder myself. This is my personal training business, by the way. So every time I have to train up one of my students, even if they're not got a fight coming up, I'm always getting them used to, if they throw the cross, they need to get their hand back because their left hook's coming. If they throw the cross, they best roll underneath because their left hook's coming. If they throw their jab, they best get it back to their forehead because the straight cross is coming. If you've got a pad holder, make sure that they're throwing attacks back at you, and he needs to be making you move a lot. We do not want to be just standing there stationary, just throwing ego combos. We want to be moving a lot, making sure that we're hitting the target with full power, planting our feet. But then after the technique's complete, move off, move around, get your pad holder throwing punches at you. You want to keep it realistic to the fight as best as possible. But at the end of each round, just to make it a little bit better for yourselves, try and burn out on specifically attacks. So maybe you spent the whole round throwing your jab, cross, left hook, moving out, backing away. But then the last maybe 10 to 30 seconds, get your pad holder to just make you throw a lot of punches, get yourself burnt out, get yourself tired at the end of each round. Key tip is in between each round, try and walk around with your hand on the back of your head like this, so it gets you used to not letting your arms sag down and get too heavy. So drilling with a partner is also very good, but we do not want to be going hard to the head, because you can't condition your chin, boys, but you can absolutely condition your legs and your body. So one way that we can do this is by doing 1-for-1 drills. So that means your partner goes jab, cross, left hook, and you block, block, cover. And then on the next one, he has to defend. So basically just letting each other throw punches, and you're both letting each other get used to blocking. So that's going to get you used to blocking punches, and that's going to get you used to throwing punches and being creative with your combinations as well. So what you can do to condition your legs and your body is just literally have your arms up in the air and just let your partner punch you in the body, kick you in the body, let him kick you in the legs, let him kick you in different areas of your leg, go to the calf, go to the quads. Try and get yourself used to just taking shots. And then when it comes to the fight, you're going to be more conditioned for it, and it's going to be a lot better for you taking damage. When you're doing one-for-one drilling as well, you can keep on rinsing techniques in the grappling. So if you're competing in mixed martial arts, you can just keep on taking each other down over and over and over again. That is how you get good at technique. The Cuban Olympic boxers, the Thai fighters in Thailand, the Russian wrestlers, they will train for about 10 hours a day, but they're going super light. So when they're doing the technique on the takedowns, they're not doing what the Americans do, and they train. The Americans will train like 3 times a week for 2 hours, but they go hard. The people that win the Olympics for wrestling are the Russians, who just stay there for 10 hours a day, going really slow with the technique, making sure they're doing everything perfect. The Cuban boxers, they'll do footwork for about 3 hours straight. They just master the footwork. In any other country where they don't do so well in boxing, they'll train 3 times a week, but go really hard. That is not how the best fighters in the world do it. The Danaher Death Squad for Jiu-Jitsu, they train 365 days a year. Even on Christmas Day, they train, but they go super light. They go through every technique in methodical detail, and they get really, really good at it. So this is one way that we can really massively improve our technique and our conditioning both at the same time. This is one of my favorite ones for when I haven't got a gym facility, when I haven't got a martial arts facility. This one is good for if you're just near a park, basically. But what you want to do is you want to jog the long side of the pitch. So you see this long part of the pitch here, you want to jog up that. And then when it comes to this bit, the short side, you want to sprint all the way down there. So sprint as fast as you can, jog, jog, sprint as fast as you can. And what this does is just like the heavy bag work I was saying, it replicates your feinting and then attacking. So when you're just jogging down the long side, that replicates you just being on your toes, moving around, doing your little feints, throwing your little feints out there. But then when you're sprinting from the short side, that's when you're putting the hands together. That's when you're shooting the takedown. That's when you're trying to take him down against the cage. So this is really good at getting your heart rate into the red zone and keeping your conditioning good for your cardio, good for your fight. This is one of my favorite ones for the gym. If you've got yourself a gym with an assault bike, this is probably one of the best ways to level up your conditioning, boys. So let's just assume that you are doing 3-minute rounds, which is most amateur MMA fights. Amateur, I think K1 is 2-minute rounds, and I think Muay Thai is 3-minute rounds. But you want to do 10 seconds as hard as you can on the assault bike, and then 20 seconds catching your breath. Like I say, this is mimicking the feinting and then the throwing the punches. When you're moving around, that's when you're going slow on the assault bike. But then when you're actually going to throw your punches, when you're going to go for the takedown, go as hard as you can. You want to do this 6 times, because 10 seconds plus 20 seconds is 30 seconds. You times that by 6, and then you've got yourself a 3-minute round. And then you have 1 minute rest, just like you win the fight. And then you repeat this another 2 more times. So 10 seconds as hard as you can, 20 seconds slow. You do that 6 times. That's 1 3-minute round. You have 1 minute rest, and then you do it again another 2 more times. If you're doing a 5-round fight, of course, you would just do it another 4 more times instead of doing it for another 2 more times, because it's a 5-round fight. So this is something I've recently started incorporating for my training when I've got a fight coming up, when my students in the gym have got fights coming out. But I want you guys to be quite creative with this. I want you guys to mix it up every single time. But you want to lay out a circuit of 6 exercises, and you do 30 seconds on each exercise. So you do this 6 times, and that's a 3-minute round. You rest 1 minute and you repeat it again. If you do it for 5 rounds, you would do it 4 more times. If you've got a 3-round fight, you only need to do it 2 more times. But a little example of what this could look like for you. And like I said, I want you to be creative with this one. So I want you to make it up as you go along, but just making sure that it's MMA specific, or it's kickboxing specific, or it's boxing specific. Try and make it as sport specific to your sport as you can. But what you want to do is you want to do something along the lines of this. You could do full power punches on the heavy bag, full power hook punches. As soon as your 30 seconds are done on that, you could have a kick shield on the floor and you're doing ground and pound on the floor. And you keep on transitioning every 2 seconds. So punch, 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 move. Punch, 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 move. And then you could move on to your partner's holding you down. So your partner's holding you down to the ground and you have to get back to your feet. And then you have to defend takedowns against a cage. And then you have to do full power roundhouse kicks against the Thai pads. And then you have to do constant takedowns on your partner. So in this circuit, I'm making either myself or my student, he's having to throw punches. He's having to do ground and pound on the floor. He's having to get back to his feet when he gets taken down. He's having to defend takedowns against the cage when maybe he gets back to his feet and then the guy's trying to take him down. And then he has to do full power roundhouse kicks. And then he has to do constant takedowns against an opponent. So he's learning to take people down as well. So what this does is, just like in MMA, it switches you from one type of exercise, like wrestling is very different exercise to boxing. And then boxing is a very different exercise to kicking. And you keep on switching, just like a real MMA fight. So this is probably the best way to level up your conditioning, boys, is lots of sparring and preferably the shark tank. Anybody that trains martial arts before probably knows what the shark tank is. But basically what it is if you're fighting for 3-minute rounds, that means you've got 3 fresh sparring partners waiting for you. Your first round's going to be easy because you're both going to be the same energy. You're going to have 100% gas tank versus 100% gas tank. But you're going to stay in for all of the rounds. So you do a 3-minute round against the first partner. You have 1 minute rest. Your next partner comes in. You're going to be absolutely knackered because you should have told your partners to put the pace on you. And then you're going to be on 60% recovery. Your partner's going to be on 100%. He's going to be fresh. And then the third round, you're going to probably be on 40%, and then you've got a fresh sparring partner. If you've got 5 rounds in your fight, you're going to have to do this 5 times. If you've only got 3 rounds, you only need to do this 3 times. But keep the pace up. Don't half-arse it. You want to be making sure that you're putting everything into this, because not necessarily the power, but everything into your work rate. Because it sounds cliche, but if you work hard now, the fight will become easy. So get your sparring in and make sure you're doing the shark tank. And this is probably the most sport-specific exercise you can do, is sparring. If you guys need any help with this, I've got a full strength and conditioning plan on my program, Size and Violence. So everything that you guys can see on here is what you get. But on this module here, the strategies and mindset for fighting, I have a whole course in order on exactly what to do. All of it's wrote out for you. I've got a video of me doing the exercises so you can do it with me alongside you if you want. Or you can just look at the template and then just follow it yourself and do it in your own time. But this will tell you everything you need to know about how often you should be doing it, how to space it away from your sessions so you're not interfering with your technique sessions. And it also shows you how to make sure you don't shred a lot of muscle off your frame as you do it. Because when you do high intensity interval training, like what I just said now, it's harder for you to lift weights. So I've also got a balancing, fighting and bodybuilding guide. So when you do cut down to that weight class, you're actually going to still look big and impressive for the fight. But then you partner that with the strategies and mindset for fighting. You're also going to have elite level conditioning. So you're basically going to be George St. Pierre. You're going to look like a bodybuilder, but then also be as fit and as capable as a fighter as you can possibly be. So take a look, boys. Check it out. First link in the description. And if not, I shall see you on the next YouTube video. So like, share, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on. And I shall see you on the next one.